Is $15,000 in mods worth the money? Well, I put $15,000 in mods on my Subaru BRZ project. I put very nice dampers, very nice brakes, pole position, all these things to see if I could go faster at Buttonwillow than I did in BRZ Project Episode 1. The goal today is to tune my dampers. So three-way dampers are pretty complicated. You have three methods of adjustment, which I'll go over a little later, but point is, the more things you adjust, the more things you can mess up. So we're gonna find out, demystify it, and see what's up. Also, see how good my brakes are. All right, there's a couple things you should check before you get on track. So pop the hood, check your oil. More importantly, I think, it's tire pressure gauge. You should always set your pressure before you go out on track. Each tire is a little different. AO52's like, I think around 25 pounds. So we're gonna set it, 25 pounds cold. Don't get confused. They like around 30 something hot. Most track tires like 30 something hot, low 30s. So let's just go and check pressures real quick. And then I checked the oil at home already, so I don't really need to do that, but I'm gonna take one look under the hood, make sure everything's tight, make sure nothing's weird, and we'll hit the track. Make sure everything's sort of on there good, nothing's weird, nothing's loose. You know, look at your oil cap, look at your lines, make sure nothing's rubbing, coolant lines are all good, there's no fluids anywhere, things are all tight and good, and everything looks good here. I know I shook this and it moved, that's fine. Those are just my remote reservoirs, so we're gonna be messing with those later. Up here is my high-speed compression adjustment. Right here is rebound. So those two adjustments are gonna be really important as far as suspension tuning goes. So rebound is gonna do the most change to handling. High-speed compression will do the most change to ride comfort. There is low-speed compression on these dampers, but I have to take the knob off. I'm not gonna do all that, I already have it set. So we're gonna mess with those two things today, as well as on the rear. But everything looks good here. Let me let the air out of the rest of the tires, and let's hit the track.
Okay, let's talk turkey about the dampers. So I didn't really go over what they are, but I will go over later what compression, rebound, all that tuning stuff is. But for now, some context. This is the Nitron R3 damper system. It's made by a company called Nitron, who are based in England and recently opened a US base in Marietta, just outside of LA. They are a high-end damper. For the BRZ, the kit retails at $6,180, which is not cheap. I think most people are used to looking at $1,500 or $2,000 for dampers. It's because this is a motorsport grade damper. This is proper racing stuff. It's on the level of like JRZ, if you ever heard of them. They're from the Netherlands, or MCS from America, or even Penske, which almost everybody's heard of. This is real proper stuff. On my BRZ, I spec the track day springs, which is 500-pound front, 600-pound rear, or 9K front and 10.7K rear for the metric nerds. It's because my car is a track car. It's going to be used on the track all the time. And the reason why you'd go with a damper like this is because you want prime adjustability, you want all three ways adjustable, but also because they simply spend more money on the parts. There's low friction coatings on the pistons, it's a monotube damper, all this nerdy stuff to basically mean it works better than your average Jeep damper. But let's head back in and talk about how to tune them.
All right, session done. Car feels super hooked up, more than it ever has. On throttle exiting actually rotates quite nicely. What I want to change is the roll-in braking behavior. I think it should turn a bit more. So what we're gonna do to combat that is enter the world of suspension damping. So pretty much there's two things you need to know about dampers. It's compression and rebound. Rebound controls the motion when the car is going up, and compression controls the motion when the car is being compressed, right? So rebound has the most effect on balance because, say, when you're braking, your front's in compression, your rear's in rebound. When you're accelerating, your front's in rebound, your rear's in compression. I want more turning when I'm braking. So I want the rear to lift up a bit more, unload quicker, so the front loads up quicker. So I'm gonna take a click or two of rebound out of the rear. Let's start with a click of rebound. On the Nitron R3, it was really easy in the front to adjust rebound and compression. It's a pain in the ass back here because it's on the top of the damper. So I have to get on the ground, reach up, and turn at the top of the damper a click counter. Gotta turn it out, so there. Nice click. Okay. And click. You can read a bit more tire pressure science by looking at the rollover on the shoulder here. Right now you can see the rollover only reaches up to here on the tire, which means we're not using most of the tire. You kind of want it to be around here, full sidewall-ish, rolling over real nice. I want to utilize more of that sidewall. So that's why I dropped 1.5 pounds out of the front, is to get more rollover under that. The rear, I'm not looking for more grip in the rear. I want the car to turn more, so I'm not gonna mess too much with the rear, but that's another way to read pressures. As far as the brakes, I love them. The feel is so incredible. It feels like a Porsche GT car. Really short, stiff pedal, really easy to modulate, such great feel into ABS. I am in love. I'm using CSG SP1s and CPs in the rear, so they're not the Brembo pads. Overall, I am stoked. The car is so fast, and the lap time as a baseline is really good, 58.9. We have gone 0.2 quicker than we did on Hoosiers, which is an improvement, but I know this car has a 56 or a 57 in it, so let's get to work.
The big thing with tire tuning, it isn't just getting the tire pressure balance front to rear right, it's actually getting the base pressure right. Once you get low enough in the tire pressure, and these track tires I'm noticing lately really like super low tire pressure. These Yokohama AO52s you can run lower, which I'll mention later in the video. They're a super fast tire. They just take the right sort of finesse to get in the window. So the whole thing with tire pressure is that you pretty much lower it until it's bad. And what I mean by bad is it's rolling over too much, or it feels worse, or there's a decrease in overall grip. So it's a pretty empirical game to figure out what good tire pressure means. Some tires, like a Falcon RT660, which is a competitor 200 treadwear tire, likes high tire pressure. They like being like 35 hot, versus an AO52, which likes being sub 30 hot. It is kind of a witchcraft game, to be honest with you, viewer. It's not easy to figure out. But honestly, in this second session, the car kind of felt poopy. It was not great. The changes I made weren't the move, so we're going to pull in and talk a little bit about why.
We're in a bit of a corner. Car did another 58.9, which I know it can go faster. I don't know if it's the day, it's hot out, but I did the exact same lap time, even with a bit of tire pressure, even with a bit of damper. In fact, I found the car to be harder to drive, so I think I'm gonna click that rebound back in. But I think my pressures were all over the place. So I was running about 31, 32 hot. I just talked to my friend over there, Chris Marion, and he said I should run these at 28 hot. So I'm gonna try these at 28 hot, just set them to 28. Probably gonna leave the dampers alone. I think I might screw the rebound back in, because I think what's happening is on landing, it comes up, and since this car has such a high spring rate, it's 9K front, 11K rear like I talk about, I think it needs quite a bit of rebound to absorb that spring energy. So I'm gonna screw that back in. Pressures are set. Just knocking the rebound back in. I think with the lower pressures, I'll get the intended effect of a little more damping that I want. The other weird thing I'm getting into here is steering effort. I think what's happening is with the 265 wide tires, it's quite wide. The stock BRZ width is 215. So we've gone up 50 millimeters in width. There's quite a lot of steering load, and what's happening is, you can see it on the onboard, I steer and I'm struggling. You can see how much muscle I'm using. It's because the E-Pass is running out. I legit have no steering assist at some points. And I've noticed this on some tires, it's more aggressive on others. It's really aggressive on these AO52s. Super grippy, which is probably why it's happening. So I think there's a couple things I could do to help that. Can't really do much. Problem is, right now I have the car set up with a ton of caster, and that increases steering effort. So maybe what I can do a little later in the day is borrow some tools, knock some caster out of it, and knock some static camber into it. For now, let's see if I could best my time just with rebound and better tire pressures. Okay, so dropping the hot pressure down to 28 and doing the rebound really made the car a lot better. It's really hooked up. We only went 2/10 quicker, which is basically nothing, means I drove a little better. So 3 sessions doing 58s, high 58s means that's what this car will do. I've tried a few different approaches, a few different ways of driving it. 58, I could be proud of that. You know, 220 horsepower, 3,000 pounds with me in it. That's a decent lap time. I've seen it do a 57.9. I did a 57.9 on different tires, but today's not the day. It's a bit too hot, a bit too bad, I guess, which is the way track days and time attack go. So what we're gonna do is drive it a shitload more and go home. So that was a day with the BRZ. All things considered, it went really well. You know why it went well? I got to lap all day, had a lot of fun, didn't wear tires out much. I didn't get the lap time I wanted, which is becoming a theme, but I did go faster than on semi-slick racing tires. The AO52s are really grippy. I just think the track was slow today. The car feels like it has a 56 in it, 55 even. Just a bit hot today, bit dusty, bit, you know, rough. I had all the time in the world. I was laying down consistent time. So it's a matter of maybe not so much the driving, which can always get better, but the day itself. And Buttonwillow is very variable with that. I think what we achieved here with $15,000 in mods is the car is only a little bit quicker. And I think that's just because of the choice of the mods. It's things that you can't really describe. Last episode I was complaining about the tane dampers being quite poor. Now I think the car is so hooked up and so pocketed and so amazing, it's just a bit of a slower day than it was before. The brakes feel incredible. These pads are so good, so low bite, so modulable, and didn't fade once. The setup is incredible, and that last session, I just went half an hour straight. Didn't let up on the car until the checkered flag flew. Thing didn't care. Oil temp's perfect because of the Jackson Racing oil cooler. Coolant temps on the stock stuff, amazing. The car held up. It really did. This is an amazing lapping car, which is why I bought it. I can just take it out, lap it, and not worry so much about time attack. So as far as the goal we achieved, which we went faster than last time. Okay, goal achieved. How much faster? Not that much. What we have here is a wonderful learning track car. I have dampers I can play with, which were already pretty well dialed in. The Nitron standard settings are really good. I already messed with the compression and stuff for these tires, but it's all so dialed in so easily. I could just drive this thing all day, have fun, drive how I want, slide it, understeer it, drive it in the pocket, doesn't matter. It is so fun and so good. There's not really much else I can do to it without ruining it. So what's next? Probably gonna sell it.